Today on Locked On Red Wings, Filip Zadina is back with the Detroit Red Wings. What does that mean going forward? Also, Dylan Larkin had 6 points during All Star Weekend. Does that even get anyone excited anymore? And then finally, we're going to finish up with a first game preview since the All Star break began.
You're Locked On Red Wings, your daily podcast on the Detroit Red Wings. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome back to the Locked On Red Wings podcast. We are your hosts, Brian Fisher and Scotty Bentley. I am a podcast producer for the daily JWWJ News Radio podcast. Well, Scotty's a freelance journalist for the Detroit News, as well as the host of Locked On Tigers. And today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel, official sportsbook of Locked On. Make every moment more. Visit FanDuel.com/LockedOn today to get started. And today's episode, guys, before we get into the game preview in segment 3, like we normally do, we will kind of expand on set things we touched on in the news and notes of yesterday's episode. We had promised a mailbag for Monday, so we wanted to deliver on that and not push it back. So we will today expand more on the implications between Adam Erne getting waived, Filip Zadina being recalled, as well as Jacob Vrana heating up, and of course, Dylan Larkin in the All-Star game, or All-Star games, I guess, All-Star weekend, All-Star day, whatever you want to call it. He had 6 points. He had 5 goals and 1 assist, snubbed for the All-Star MVP. I kind of want to begin with the All-Star conversation, though, Scotty, because maybe I'm just out of touch. No, it's the kids that are wrong. Who is the All-Star weekend for? I just, because when I saw like Larkin popped off, I'm like, oh, cool, good for him. Atlantic Division 1, awesome. The skills competition stuff, some of it's cool. Like I like the speed stuff. I like the hardest shot, but overall, it's a big whomping. Who gives a crap? And this isn't just a hockey thing. I'm sounding like such a boomer. I know, but in all sports, I feel like every All-Star game is just boring and lame. And I don't think hockey's any exception.
So I think that's the conversation. I think comparing it to other All-Star weekends is really the conversation. Because I mean, you're right. Like in a vacuum, I've, especially like in its current state and just like the stuff that they keep trying to do every weekend to get people to care about it, people just like don't. And I have gotten to a point where I enjoy the like the speed competition and like hardest shot, and like I like that kind of stuff significantly more than the game itself.
Oh yeah, that
And
stuff's cool.
right. And I think that's like, those are like cool niche things. Like only these people really like in the planet can like pull off this stuff, and you're putting it on display. That's awesome. But I think when looking at other All-Star games, like if you were to rank the big four, okay, the NFL's, the Pro Bowl is a joke. That's the worst one of all of them.
It's not even flag close. Football.
Right. It's literally not even close. The Pro Bowl is comfortably in last. And I don't think I'm being biased here, but you can tell me if I am. I think baseball's is comfortably the best All-Star game because you can actually try your hardest and not really worry about an injury as much in baseball as opposed to the other two sports. And they've done some really cool stuff with the broadcasting and stuff with baseball. I think even if you don't like any All-Star games, I think if you were to rank them, I'm pretty confident that baseball's is pretty comfortably the best. Then it's just an argument of like between hockey and basketball, and they both have the same issue. There's no defense, right? Because like no one wants to give full effort in a game and like potentially hurt themselves or whatever in a game that doesn't matter. Like that's a problem. That's why the NFL's like, that's why theirs is the worst, because it's the most physical sport and no one's going to risk that. And like you said, now it's even just straight up flag football. So like and when you look at the festivities around it, like I said, like the other events and whatnot, like the whole weekend, I think hockey, the events are cool. Like basketball has the dunk contest and the 3-point contest. Those are great. Like the home run derby rocks. The NFL really has nothing. It's just awful. But so like there is some cool things with All-Star weekend, but I would agree with you. If you told me that you thought the NHL had the second worst All-Star game in sports, I don't think I disagree with you.
I think your reasoning there is spot on in regards to it's because it's a contact sport, and that's why the further down the line in level of contact you get or lack of contact you get, the more entertaining the All-Star game is. Because in football, like you said, no one wants to give full effort because no one wants to get hurt. Hockey, at least you can cut out the physicality part and it can become a skills competition. And the first year they went to this 3-on-3 format, I actually did like it quite a bit, but I think it's kind of falling into the same trap that the overtime 3-on-3 is happening where I mean, overtime 3-on-3, obviously players are trying, but it just becomes skating in big circles with all this open ice. And it's just there's no speed to it because the players don't care. They're not trying. I think what player was it that went on record and called it cringe? Like actually physically called it cringe. And it was just like,
who was that?
You're watching the game itself and it shows low speed. It's like the All-Stars, and these are exciting players, but they don't care. And why should they? I wouldn't want to get hurt either, because even if you're cutting out the contact part, you could still lose an edge and go crashing into the boards. I get it. It's just, I don't think there's a way to make the game itself fun unless you just kind of accept the fact that this is what the All-Star game is. It's more like these are the best players in the sports and they're all skating on the same ice at the same time. Oh, that's cool, I guess. Except it's not the best players in the sports because they've done it this way where every single team has to have a representative. And so you get really big studs get snubbed because their team already has a representative. And like, I understand like some teams had 2 representatives in the end, but like the Oilers obviously had McDavid and Draisaitl, but that's far and fewer in between. If this was a true All-Star game representative of the entire league, Larkin probably wouldn't be there. It's not even like an all-star game. And I love Larkin. I love the fact that he decided, apparently he was disappointed with his speed competition results, decided to go really hard in the actual game festivities itself. And that's why he had 5 goals and 1 assist. And that was cool to see as a Red Wings fan.
For sure.
We love seeing our own show out. That was cool. But, like you said, outside of the hardest shot competition and the fastest skater competition, a lot of the other competitions, just accuracy I like too. A lot of the other competitions just felt gimmicky and one-off, and it's like the players don't care. They don't want to be there. It's just like, who is this for? What is this? What if the players don't want to be there and the fans don't care to watch? Who is the All-Star game there for? I don't see it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know the ratings of the All-Star game itself, but I can't imagine it's crazy high. Like I said, it honestly, it wouldn't shock me if the competitions had better ratings than the game. I mean, that's how it is in the NBA and has been for years, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like the dunk contest and the 3-point contest are huge polls, and like nobody even watches the All-Star game anymore because it's 280 to 260. Like no one plays defense. Like it's just, and the NBA has even started like they're talking about like more and more like money incentives. Like if you win the All-Star game, you get like a bonus or like you get to donate or whatever. Like
like Larkin got $100,000 for being on the winning team.
Right. It's they're all the sports are trying really like again like except baseball. Like I really do. I think baseball is the only one that's a pretty solid product. And again, that's really no like better or worse marketing. Like baseball is a horrible marketed sport, but it really just comes down to the fact that the baseball players can try their best and not have to worry at least too terribly much about getting hurt as opposed to pretty much the other 3 sports. So,
and then one other thing regarding the All-Star game, what did you think about the uniforms?
They were fine.
I can't decide if I loved them or hated them.
I didn't have like a polarizing opinion. I know a lot of people are arguing about them, but
because last year's uniforms were polarizing too, and I loved last year's All-Star uniforms.
I did too. Yeah.
This year, I understand it's like the retro '90s look with the neon, and also it's in Florida too, so those are like Vice City colors type stuff. So like I understand it, and I keep going back and forth when watching them in action. I'm like, I don't know if I hate these or I love these. There's no middle ground for me. I either hate them or I love them, and I haven't decided which one it is yet.
The All-Star game has come and gone. They will never wear these again, and he still has not decided if he likes them or not.
I'm going to have to be looking for a thumbnail after this because we're talking about the All-Star game, and I'm going to see them all over again. So,
right.
You know what?
It's going to be like July, and you're going to be like, you know what, everyone? I just decided that those All-Star jerseys from February that they will never wear again, I liked them.
I should write a sticky note on put on my monitor to be like in July,
You
bringing this
should.
back up again.
I'm sure we have very interactive listeners. I'm sure someone will randomly, like on the 6th of July, just be like, yo, Brian, what do you think of the All-Star jerseys?
When we come back, we'll move on to talking about Filip Zadina's return, Adam Ernie being waived, and whether Jacob Vrana is getting close. It's always hard to tell in those situations. But first, I got to talk to you guys today about FanDuel. This year, the only app you need at your Super Bowl party is FanDuel, America's #1 sports book. Download FanDuel. I'm sorry. We're really excited about our new sports betting partner. I skipped a line there for Locked On because they're the #1 sports book in America. And if you're new to FanDuel, that's even better. They have so many great features that make betting on sports fun and easy. Download FanDuel now so you can bet on Super Bowl 57 with a no-sweat first bet. You'll get up to $3,000 back in bonus bets if your first bet doesn't win. FanDuel lets you bet on everything from the money line to point spreads to who will score a touchdown. The FanDuel Sportsbook app is safe, secure, and super easy to use. Best of all, you can get paid your winnings instantly. So join FanDuel today at FanDuel.com/lockedon to claim your no-sweat first bet on Super Bowl 57. That's FanDuel.com/lockedon. Make every moment more with FanDuel, the official sportsbook partner of the NFL. Segment 2, Locked On Red Wings podcast. Man, this pen doesn't want to know if it can't decide if it wants to be dead or not.
What did you just say, dude?
Shut up. Leave me alone. Leave me alone, all right? My pen can't decide. My pen can't decide if it wants to die or not. Anyways,
I don't know what you want me to say to that. Cool, dude.
Moving on. All right, we're great hosts. So I need to do this, Scotty, and this is going to be completely out of the blue. But I'm taking some heat because I do, in fact, play on 2 men's league teams. And one men's league team is getting a little bit upset that I only referenced the other on the podcast.
Oh.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I have to go on the record and say my Sunday team won by a large margin on Sunday night, and we played a very good hockey game.
You want to know what's crazy? I'm about to throw you way under the bus. I didn't even know that you played for 2 different teams.
I have a Tuesday and a Sunday night team. And
I always just assumed they were the same one. So
the reason why the Tuesday team gets brought up more is because oftentimes we record after my games. So It's like fresh, it just happened. But on Sundays, we tend to record earlier in the day before we play. So it's not fresh on the mind. But yes, I play on 2 teams. So
the Tuesday team also has the luxury of the shoulder incident.
Yes, the dislocation that occurred a couple weeks ago.
Well, I'm glad you cleared the air there, bud. It's important.
So yes, we won on Sunday.
Congrats.
Anyways, let's move on to some real Red Wings topics. Filip Zadina is back with the Detroit Red Wings. Adam Ernie was sent down to Grand Rapids after clearing waivers. And I wanted to ask, coming into the episode, what the implications behind this were for the Red Wings. But then Derek Lalonde came out and said, oh, yeah, Filip Zadina will probably be a scratch tomorrow because the team's building has had some good chemistry building in recent games. First of all, you've been off 10 days and you lost your most recent game. So I don't know what kind of chemistry he thinks he sees with the lineup. But you're telling me there's no one you could slot out for Filip Zadina? Like, the dude hasn't played, except with the exception of 2 games in Grand Rapids. He hasn't played in months, and you're going to immediately make him a healthy scratch? Like, either I'm completely off base, which is entirely possible.
Look, I mean, I don't know how you can't look at this situation as an outsider and not have like the sirens go off a little bit. Like, that's weird. Like, it is. And the timing of everything is weird. And I'm not saying that it's like a huge story or that it's some groundbreaking thing. And Zadina was getting healthy early in the year when he was before the injury, even. Like, we talked about even in like the like preseason, I'm pretty sure we had some news stories where we were like, why is Zadina not even playing today? Like, what the heck is going on? Like, there's been some stuff like that really all year, even sans the injury. And he's obviously as polarizing as he is. I don't know, man. Like, I don't I'm not trying to blow it out of proportion and make it some huge thing, but it definitely, I think it's impossible to listen to and be like, all right, well, that's like normal. That was expected.
Well, it's what's weird to me is it's not as if this team is scoring so many goals a night that you can do without. And granted, Zadina doesn't have a single point in the 9 games he did play. I understand that. But you're telling me that this team isn't at a point where it's worth shaking up the lineup to throw him in there and just see if the new chemistry develops. Because this team's not scoring.
Well,
I know
that's
they
why
went on a
it's
couple
weird.
games there where they had like 5 goals a game, but that's not the norm. They normally score like 2 or 3 at best.
Right. That's why it's weird. The offense has not been consistently good like all season. It's been a roller coaster. And I mean, on top of that, like we talk about it all the time, and I'm not saying Zadina is anything close to this, but like we're trying to find goal scorers. And like so with an offense that doesn't have any goal scorers and hasn't had a consistently good offense, to like you said, I mean, as simple as why would you not just like try something new and throw some new players in there? Like, I don't know. It's definitely weird. Again, like I'm not trying to make it a huge deal. I'm sure Zadina will play relatively soon. Maybe it's just lingering like injury stuff. I don't know, but I mean, it definitely is I think impossible to listen to and not kind of raise an eyebrow and go like, oh, okay, that
And
was kind of weird. But
if the situation were that you don't think he can make an impact at the NHL level, like he's just not got his full
then
stride back, then
why are you waving Ernie right now?
yeah, keep him down in Grand Rapids for the full 2 weeks.
Right.
You
Yeah.
know, when you send somebody
Why
on
are
a
you
conditioning stint, you can give him 2 full weeks, and he only had 2 games.
Right. Why are you cutting a conditioning stint short to healthy him?
Yeah, exactly. My point.
That's
Look, I'm
I'm
sorry.
with you, man.
I'd
It's
rather
weird.
have Zadina producing in Grand Rapids for the length of his conditioning stint, and instead of having Adam Ernie as a healthy scratch at the NHL level, rather than have Adam Ernie
Right.
playing games
Well,
in Grand Rapids and Zadina being the healthy scratch.
it's all just about timing. Like, it's one thing if he played the full 2 weeks out and didn't have any conditioning stint left, and then you did all this, and we're talking about like, okay, like that makes sense. He's healthy, whatever. He's not ready. You don't think he's earned a spot, etc. Whatever. But I mean, like optically, like it's weird again
No.
to cut the stint short and then still healthy him is weird.
And like things could change. It could very well be like, okay, he said that yesterday, and then he saw something in practice and is like, okay, we'll give him a shot. But it's really weird to me. And listen, I'm extraordinarily biased because I still want Filip Zadina to work out, and I recognize he has yet to really produce at any level at the NHL. But with him as young as he is, I still don't want to give up on Filip Zadina. So I want him to get ice time, and I also understand that he has to earn it. I get that. But this team, are you telling me that with how poorly this team has been playing, they're 7th in the division, second to last in the division right now at the halfway point. You're telling me that Filip Zadina doesn't deserve a shot to try and improve things? Because he played fantastic defensively in those 9 games he played. He just couldn't get a point. It's just there's nobody you're willing to whatever. I'm talking in circles. My point is made.
No,
I think that it's weird
It is
not to give him a shot. And I know he'll get into games, but it's weird to have him immediately be a healthy scratch right off the bat. Unless it changes. It could change by the time, people hear this tomorrow or Tuesday by the time this will be out. That could have changed. He could be in the lineup and we could be looking like jacket butts. But Carly Johnston tweeted out that Lalonde said he'll probably be a healthy scratch, which is just weird, really weird to me. Jacob Vrana, we talked about. I said 8 points in 7 games, but I think it's actually 9 points in 7 games. And
a heater.
Yeah, a little bit of a heater for him. No, but the thing is I want to have that conversation again about whether or not he could come back to the NHL level. And obviously that would require another roster move to be made. But his situation is so unique. It's not like he's coming off of an injury that, man, I don't know. Like, even though he's playing so well down in there in Grand Rapids, like there could be so many other moving parts at play. Like, my heart obviously wants him to come back ASAP, but it's still possible that he finishes out the year in Grand Rapids just to get his head right. I don't know.
Yeah, it's really hard for us to predict the rest of the season for Vrana. I'm not sure anybody's going to really be able to accurately. There's certainly a chance that he just stays down there for the rest of the year. I mean, if that's what like both parties think is best for him, like that's obviously a a legitimate possibility. I think that, I mean, he's obviously playing really well lately, like you said. And so that kind of makes you keep an eye out on him a little bit more than you were. And like another tough roster decision comes if he if he is recalled, right? I mean, that's another tough roster decision on your hands where you have to let somebody else go or put somebody else on waivers rather. So yeah, I mean, it really could go a lot of different ways, and I think that for me, like I have the trade deadline circled, not because I think he's going to get moved, but because I think if we make trades, that frees up roster spots and it's easier to then bring him back. And
Trade
there's
deadline, yeah.
not like, I don't want to say as much pressure, but it's just you're not waiting for a corresponding move necessarily. He's getting a healthy like cup of coffee down there in the AHL. And yeah, so that's kind of like where my head is at. I kind of, if it was to happen, I kind of have the trade deadline looked out. That's a decent sample size down there if it continues to be good production. But I really, I'm not sure anybody really knows outside of maybe Yzerman and Verana.
Yeah, I think the trade deadline's a really reasonable guess as to when he could more realistically come back, is if they sell off a couple players and that'll free roster spots. I think that's smart. But again, who knows? Because he could go on a heater and he could still not get called up. I mean, we don't know where he is at, and we don't know where the organization is at on him as a future, as a player on this team, a piece of this organization. So we'll find out, I guess, whenever something happens. But, watching him heat up down there gets me excited at the prospect of him possibly coming back, no matter when it could be. So let's get to another break. And when we come back, we'll preview our first Red Wings game in 10 days. Let's go. I'm so excited. I haven't been this excited for a Red Wings game since the start of the season. So I got my hope back up again. I'm back here. Just happy to see hockey. Let's see how long that lasts. But first, I got to talk to you guys today about AG1. This next partner is a product you got to use literally every day. Start taking AG1 because with one delicious scoop of AG1, you're absorbing 75 high-quality vitamins, minerals, whole food sourced superfoods, probiotics, and adaptogens help you start your day right. This special blend of ingredients supports your gut health, your nervous system, your immune system, your recovery, energy, focus, and aging, all those things. It's lifestyle friendly, whether you eat keto, paleo, vegan, dairy-free, or gluten-free. Contains less than 1 gram of sugar, no GMOs, no nasty chemicals or artificial anything, while still tasting good. Athletic Greens was created when the founder experienced a ton of gut health issues and ended up on a complicated routine of over $100 a day. But with Athletic Greens, it costs less than $3 a day. You're investing in your health, and it's cheaper than your cold brew habit. Right now, it's time to reclaim your health and arm your immune system with convenient daily nutrition. It's just 1 scoop and a cup of water every day. That's it. No need for a million different pills and supplements to look out for your health. To make it easy, Athletic Greens is going to give you a free 1-year supply of immune-supporting vitamin D and 5 free travel packs with your first purchase. All you have to do is visit athleticgreens.com/NHL Network. Again, that is athleticgreens.com/NHL Network to take ownership over your health and pick up the ultimate daily nutritional insurance. Segment 3, Locked On Red Wings podcast. Scotty, let's do our first game preview in 10 days. The Red Wings are at home on Hulu. ESPN Plus broadcast.
Nice.
For the people who are listening, I was doing a very ironic smile with a thumbs up. They're playing the Edmonton Oilers. What was that?
What?
What'd you say?
Edmonton.
I'm going to listen back on this. You're so toast. 7:30 at LCA. Oilers are the Oilers. They're 4th in the Pacific Division. They're not a very deep team, but they are hella top heavy. They got the biggest 1-2 punch in the league in Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl. And who would have guessed? They're actually performing really well this year. Connor McDavid's got 92 points in 50 games played, 41 goals, 51 assists.
So ridiculous, dude. He's closer to 2 points a game than 1.5 a game.
Yes, and Leon Draisaitl has 76 points in 48 games played, 29 goals, 47 assists, which is, also elite territory. But it doesn't stop there. They have 2 more players who are 10 points above a point per game right now. And Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, who's got 60 points in 50 games played, and Zach Hyman, 60 points in 49 games played. After that, it drops off pretty substantially, although Tyson Berry's having himself a nice season assist-wise. He's got 27 assists on the back end for the Edmonton defense. But, yeah, I mean, when you're talking about the Edmonton Oilers, you're talking about shutting down the Draisaitl-McDavid combo. If you can do that, you can win, but not a whole lot of teams can do that.
Yeah, I mean, this is I would say pretty comfortably. Maybe comfortably is a little too dramatic, but I think this is the most electric offense in hockey, and I think it's not even particularly close. I guess I'll put it that way. They're second in goals per game. They are pretty comfortably first in power play. They're almost converting it's almost 33.3%. Like they're just under one of every three.
That somehow doesn't surprise me.
One out of three on the power play. Like yeah, like the Red Wings aren't even bottom 10 in the power play, and they're at about 20%. So like it's sizable, and yeah, like they don't have an incredible defense. They're in the bottom 12 or 13 in the league in goals against. Their goalie situation's been okay. It's been good enough, clearly. But the fact of the matter is they can pretty much outscore anyone on any given night, and that's their style, and that's how they play, and they're very good at doing so. So it works for them, and that's really easy to do when you have one of the two greatest hockey talents ever, arguably. So like
Yeah.
that is the name of the game. I mean, if you can stop if you can stop Connor, like you're going to have a chance, but I'm not sure there's really any team that can consistently stop Connor. So
no, there really isn't, and that's what it's going to come down to, because they're not a great defensive team. They're just barely middle of the pack when it comes to shot attempt percentage, Corsi for percentage a game, at even strength, and an expected goals for percentage. They're 11th in the league at 5-on-5. But like you said, their power play is redonkulous. Not even ridiculous, redonkulous at 32%. That's insane. What you say, 7% better than the next team. But their PK is near like bottom 10 of the league. Their PK is worse than the Red Wings PK. Right. Defensively, they're not that great. So it's going to, like I said at the start, Scotty, if you're going to beat the Edmonton Oilers, if you want to start the second half of the season, and that's in air quotes because they're technically a couple games over the halfway point, but the season's usually split up by the All Star break. If you want to start the second half of the season on the right foot, you're going to have to shut down Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl. And that's a tall task to ask. But defensively, they're not that great. Connor McDavid doesn't play good defense. He's not the best defensive player. He's about to have 100 points in like 50 games.
It doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter. But
correct. Yeah.
If you can get this team on its heels and prevent them from getting out of their own zone, you'll win this hockey game. But if they get out of their zone and get into your zone, they're going to win. It sounds very straightforward, but if you can overpower their defense, you have a chance to win. You just can't let yourself get caught in your own zone, which is such a tall task, I know, because this Red Wings team still has a long ways to go. And the Edmonton Oilers have literally the best player in the world on their team.
I want to know what the over-under is for Connor shots.
Oh, that's a good question.
Because we talk about how porous this defense is and how everybody is just able to, like anybody is able to just get a shot from right in front of the net or from the point. McDavid might have 10 shots. Like you know what I mean? Like he might be comfortably in the double-digit shots. Like legitimately, like he's just going to be able to get into the point literally whenever he wants the entire game. Now, if they make adjustments and game plan against that and whatever, then that's the hope. But we don't really have much evidence that that's going to happen. So
yeah, they don't have it listed yet. They just have the
I don't know. It's kind of a niche question for sure. It's a tall task, man.
Yeah, but we're starting the second half of the season optimistic. That'll be better than the first, man. Filip Zadina is back. It's going to be the game changer. Everything's going to be different now.
You said it, not me.
Oh, speaking of health, we didn't talk about health, but he brought that into my mind because Zadina's finally healthy. Heroic practice today. He seems to be fine.
Oh, yeah.
So that is good news.
Word.
Red Wings money line on this game, Scotty. Red Wings are home underdogs, plus 134 money line. Edmonton Oilers are minus 162. Who you taking on this one?
Neither. I honestly I wouldn't do either of those. If you made me choose, I'd just pick Edmonton because like Edmonton. But yeah, I don't bet against a Connor McDavid team. That's just I think that's stupid.
Yeah, that's where I'm at too. Is I'm taking, and this is all FanDuel Sportsbook. Those are the odds via them. Edmonton Oilers minus 162. I'd take that money line. Point spread, goal spread is plus 1.5 for the Red Wings at minus 176 odds. Edmonton Oilers have minus 1.5, obviously, at plus 142 odds.
Okay,
So
I
they're saying
comfortably take the plus money there. The Red Wings lose by 2, you get plus money. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'll take that pretty
Yeah,
comfortably. Like, sorry.
I'm right there with you. And then the over-under total is under 6.5
Yeah,
plus
and this is
112,
another
over
general rule of
6.5,
thumb. Like
138.
back in the day, like my 3 rules were like you don't bet against Tom Brady when he was in his prime. When he was on the Pats, you don't bet against the Pats. You don't bet against Alabama football, and you don't bet the under in games in which Connor McDavid is participating. So, and like obviously the Pats lost games and Bama lost games, and Connor hasn't scored over 6. Been on on every game of his career, but like that just seems like it's a really dumb thing to do on a semi-consistent basis. So I will take the over.
We're out here. We're like, it's going to be, try and be optimistic. Strong start to the second half. And
Look,
then we
no,
take
like,
all.
but
No, I get you, though. I agree.
It's all 2 people or like 1 person, really. But like it's all comes down to the production of like the top line. I mean, that's really like it. Like if the Wings can figure out and game plan a way to slow down, you're not going to stop them. You're not. But if you can at least slow down the top line of the Oilers, then like you're going to give yourself a fighter's chance because they do have some problems defensively and in net. But
No,
I mean, just
realistically,
based on what we've seen out of the Red Wings defense this year and based on what that top line is for the Oilers, that feels like a tall order.
I agree. Anyways, on that somber note, let's go Red Wings. Let's hope they get the win regardless.
Yes.
And
absolutely.
we'll do a game, hopefully a very fun game recap tomorrow. So make sure you stay tuned for that. Same time. Oh, any final thoughts?
We ball.
We ball. Same time, same place. It's your team every day.